protect your mainstream media that says sexy. They say he's the sexiest man alive. Just receive it, bro. I don't understand this with Gen Zs. I mean, you guys challenge this a little bit too much. So, anyways, but the part is, this is where America, because you...
Sorry. I don't know, can the audience see this headshot of Fauci right here? This is Zoolander Blue Steel face right here.
Look, though, bro, that's like... Listen, Brad Pitt's got nothing on Anthony Fauci. Look at that. Ryan Gosling, forget about it. Right? Robert Redford Young, hell no. Right? McQueen, you got James Dean. Anthony Fauci, damn, dog, look at that. Sexy.
I wanted to back up just a little bit to a miscalculation that Zuckerberg, Susan Wojcicki, and others made during that time, is they forgot that the internet itself is actually free. A lot of people, when they talk about censorship, they're existing within the big four. You know, what back then was Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I guess it was TikTok. But the reality is you can still make a website and say pretty much whatever you want within the confines of free speech protection. So I can start andrewsopinions.com and I can say anything. It's just a matter of getting traffic to the website. And what happened after they removed people from Facebook is in shutting down that discourse, people created alternative platforms that had a huge resurgence and actually emergence during that time as well. Gab, Parler, Rumble, BitChute. And so what you did is you took them away from the public discourse and the marketplace of ideas, and you put them into a tighter echo chamber amongst each other to where more fringe beliefs like the QAnon stuff were able to incubate in a smaller focus group, and they just kind of exploded. And that wouldn't have happened if the surface net was existent as it is. Now, you might say that, okay, this may have stopped some of the Q stuff from spreading and infecting the brains of, you know, hundreds of millions of people and was maybe focused on 7 or 8. But those 7 or 8 million of people who were under absolute political hypnosis during the 2020 election, you know, are
What's up, OG? How you doing, man?
Listen,
just driving.
It's so funny when you say that.
Waiting for some deliveries.
Until 2020.
Happy Thursday, man. Thursday.
Up until October of 2022. It's not a long time ago. 2.5 years ago. Mainstream media had a chokehold on influence. Period.
Yeah, what do you think of her, man?
There was a guy named Dr.
What do you think? Is she hot or what?
Always have Anthony Fauci on.
She all right? She all right?
And he was going to talk to this lady who used to work with Anthony Fauci. Last minute he bailed. I would never do this, and I never agreed. You agreed to it. We have the text documentation of him agreeing to come to it. I would never come to it. All this other stuff. Okay. We were supposed to think he knew it all, and that was the way to go. We can't question anything with the vaccine stuff. No. Fauci's God, and we got to go with the lead. And then Musk buys Twitter in October 27, 2022. Then what happens? Trump is back on X.
Definitely John. Yeah, she's not a lady. No, she's from the Philippines.
Trump's comes back on.
Her name is Filipina Morena, but her real name is Christina.
Content creators can go back to sharing.
She's really young. She's like 23, I believe. She wants to be a model.
We got a lot of strikes. I don't know how many strikes you've gotten, but we got a lot of strikes. You got one? In the era of 20.
Yeah, she looks like she's Malaysian, dude. Like she's half black, half Asian.
Our channel would be like, yeah, you're 1 away, you're 2 away, you're 1 away, you're 2 away.
I didn't ask her that. I just thought it was kind of rude for me to ask her that question. But.
Yeah. So, what happened in October of 2022 when you're saying, hey, you know, they kind of got it wrong and they kind of did this? We didn't have a choice. The market didn't have a choice. Yeah. You couldn't speak about the opinions that you had. Then when they realized they effed up, then the populace realized, shit, we were right. We were right about this stuff. Trump wasn't going to start World War III. Never did in the first term. The economy was doing good until COVID happened. Oh shit, Russia and Ukraine happened under. I thought, you know, Biden
it's like
was
the
peace.
sun's trying to come out.
Multiple major wars on a guy that's supposed to be peace. So that's when the market's finally like, look, dude, I've had it. You in 7 battleground states, and every state becomes more Republican than they were before. And the 2 states that became more Republican are the 2 states that lost $1 trillion of what that left. So even after they left, they became even more Republican. That's like a landslide type of a victory that Reagan had back when he won against Mandela or whoever it was.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting time of what happened to it. So to me, I think a part of it is also, you know, it's a different social media now the last 2.5 years than what it was 2019 to 2022. Those were dark times for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that right now is a pretty good time for social media comparatively to then.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. What was the anti-vax when you went to? What was that like?
Oh man, so I mean, the anti-vax rally, the one that I went to was obviously it was taken down by YouTube.
I'm listening to
but
Value.
That was the first major anti-lockdown
They love Boom
rally.
Boom. I don't know. Do you think Silent
just
like
has what was the craziest thing that somebody
broken
said?
his celibacy?
This is a pre-vaccine era.
I think he's still celibate. I don't think anything happened.
This is in April 2020.
Oh my God!
Yeah, like,
so peak.
Oh no, that Hollywood anti-vax rally is like a year later. If you look up coronavirus lockdown protest, all gas, no brakes, you will find the video that was removed by YouTube. Yeah, but that was like at the California State Capitol in Sacramento.
Is that the one?
Right after it popped off.
Is this it?
Yeah,
So
as
this
you
the one
see.
they took down?
This is the one that was taken down.
So it starts with this clip?
Yeah.
I want to hear what the first thing is to see what
Free
what else
phone,
on YouTube.
get
Go
your
ahead.
free
I got every
phone.
problem with the government saying we can't go out. It's a prohibition. It's illegal. It's against the Constitution. I'm immune compromised. I put that at risk today. I put that at risk today because I gotta be here.
Yeah. Are you scared to die?
No more scared than I am for anything else.
Freedom. Yeah, nothing happened, huh?
Yeah, so that was when it first popped off.
How many people own the news companies?
How many?
Well, you tell me.
Three or four.
How many does Disney own?
How many?
How many?
I don't know.
Well, maybe you ought to find out. You're in the media, are you?
Yeah, but I'm independent.
You're independent what?
Independent media. Me and this guy. It's called All Gas, No Brakes.
See your badge.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's the idea. I don't have a badge.
This shit was crazy, man. I'm giving some flashbacks.
This is April of 2020, the peak. And this is in LA or this is
in Sacramento at the California State Capitol. And as you can see, I don't know if you were right, how you felt when the thing first happened, but I was definitely nervous, pre-vaccine, all that. It was a pretty unsure time for people. And I think that caused many to gravitate toward extreme directions. You had people who were like, I'm never going to wear a mask. One guy here had a shirt that said cough in my face. And he was saying, everybody cough in my face. I don't care who you are, young, sick, old, cough in my face. I will show you. And then you had people who were literally like refusing to go outside of their house. I remember in Seattle, with the community that I grew up with, right? Like if you had a picnic at a public park and you didn't have a mask on, and there was
the guy I'm listening to being interviewed is called Andrew Callahan.
Take a picture of you, and it would circulate all on social media, and it would say this is a super spreader, and you could lose your job because of that. So there was like a mutual polarization, and I would argue that we're still living in 2020.
You think?
Yeah. People's brains have never recovered, man.
I think the 5%.
I think if you type something in the chat, it gets activated.
So
gets the bots to activate. I see bot rich, but I don't see night bot.
The divisions that were planted there, you know what I mean, as far as like Red Scare and then people's movements being it's kind of, we're still living.
If you're breaking it down like that, yeah. But I think the
sounds like Chad.
That's in 2020 in April. You probably don't have today.
There's no school today because of the Armenian genocide.
In reality, is very 2020 coded still to this day, even if people.
So Los Angeles Unified School Districts do not have classes today because of the Armenian genocide, in honor of the Armenian genocide, in remembrance of the Armenian genocide.
And I think Trump convinced Americans to look at people with masks as like these moronic sheep that are worthy of, harassment.
Well, some of them are.
Yeah, I mean,
like, for example, when I remember one time, Rob, can you put up the picture I posted of the lady that was in the car driving? I don't know if you have this or not. So during COVID, I used to love watching people. Let me see if I can find this. Where no? Let me see if I can find this. This is so funny if I can find it. But yeah, when I would see guys wearing a freaking mask while they're driving cars, is this me? Yeah, this is it.
That's it. I can tell this is going to be a good one.
What are you doing? So this person's not you weren't a mask in a car by yourself. You think that's normal?
The level of responsibility is at the highest level.
Yeah.
They don't even want to get themselves sick.
Yeah, wearing a mask in the car by yourself is retarded.
Doesn't part of you kind of feel bad for those people?
No, I don't. You know why? Let me explain to you why. I don't feel bad because if Yeah, that's the second picture, Rob. If you can put the second picture, I think it's the second one to the left, top left. That's the one, I think. Click on it. Driving alone. Yeah, this is it. Driving alone with a mask on is like going to bed alone with a condom on. Like, what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
You're not going to get an STD.
But you got to think, like, they're under algorithmic hypnosis, like the other half of the country, and they're being told every single day that there's a new variant. They're glued to their phone. 6 hours of screen time is like the national average in 2020. Yeah. So they're constantly being fed this fear stuff. Much like people on the far right were also being fed a similar type of fear content, outrage machine.
Like what? Like what? Give me the fear on the right.
Probably, oh my gosh, the QAnon stuff?
No, not QAnon. Give it to me from conservative media, like mainstream versus liberal media mainstream, not QAnon people.
Oh, I mean, that was the dominant threat in 2020.
No, I'm just going to stick to mainstream media, what the conservative right was saying that was selling fear porn versus what the liberal left was saying selling fear porn. They both sold fear porn, but what was it?
I think that the democratic censorship on major social media platforms pushed people in the conservative activist movement into small fringe platforms where they were being fed QAnon stuff more so than they were mainstream press, and that was a direct blowback. I mean, obviously, mainstream liberal media at the time was telling people not to go outside, to social distance, and to be wary of anybody without a mask on. And also, there was the right-wing machine was telling people that we're going to turn into a communist country and all your freedoms are going to be taken away. There's a cabal of baby-eating pedophiles that are connected to Epstein Island who are controlling the entire world. So there was just mass exaggerations on both sides.
But on the podcast, yes. On the podcast world, when it's coming to, what are you saying, the baby eating, what was that? What is the thing called that you drink it, you age backwards?
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome, right. Yeah. And so for me, yeah, for sure. Some people say that's kind of weird when they say that. I get it. But I'm saying mainstream. On mainstream, if they said, if you give up too much control, this could be a step away from communism, it's partly not wrong if you give up too much control. We were told that our kids can't go to school, and you're telling us to stay home for a year and a half, and people left California and New York? Yeah, that's crazy shit. You and I don't know what that is. When you went to school, you didn't have to stay home for a year and a half. Imagine how hard it is on the wife and the mother and the mom and the father trying to make the marriage work and pay bills and get the job, and you lose the job, and you lose the restaurant, and you lose the business. That's policies from the left that destroyed all these things. So they destroyed America for a year and a half. But what did the right do? The right was telling you, don't believe it. Question it. Even libertarians said, don't believe it. Even libertarians became incited with Trump.
Some of them did die, though, like Herman Cain.
Well, some of them did die. Herman Cain, yeah, there are some that died. There's more than just Herman Cain that died. There was a lot more than that. But that's not the point. The point is, you have a choice. If you drive a car on the freeway, somebody hits you, you're going 100 miles an hour, two choices. You kill yourself, you're dead. You're dead. There's choices that you got to make. But if it's all control,
yeah.
You want me to sit here and give you that? By the way, right now, like one of the conversations that's coming up here in the office was about, what do you call it? The personal ID.
Real ID.
The real ID.
Oh, yeah, that's like when you go to the airport now, you can't just give them your driver's license or what's going on?
You got to have this real ID with like the star on the top.
Is that what that's with like the face scanner thing?
Right,
Yeah.
Like we're going in that direction. Some people are not comfortable with that. And these are people that are conservative that are not comfortable with that. With Trump, that voted for Trump. So this isn't like just a community that's all in. Like even if I voted for Trump, I'm 100% in now.
Yeah, I think that one of the ways that my logic is thinking is kind of flawed sometimes. Is that I always have the impression that the conservative side is really united, and that everyone's kind of rallying together with their support of Trump and Elon.
It's not.
What are the major points of division right now within the conservative movement?
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Like, holy shit. Do you know what Steve Bannon is?
Yeah.
So do you know who Howard Lutnick is?
Is he connected to Steve?
No, Howard Lutnick is, what's Howard Lutnick's job, Rob? What's Howard Lutnick's job?
United States Secretary of Commerce.
So he's a Secretary of Commerce. That's a heavy job, okay? Steve Bannon, who was a guy that helped Trump at the beginning when he's coming up.
Old school.
Old school. Like he's a strategy guy, right? Have you seen what Steve Bannon has said about Howard Lutnick?
I've only seen what Steve said about Elon, which he's like a foreigner or something.
Yeah, so the point is, there is something going on the conservative side. What's this about, Rob?
This is Steve Bannon. In this clip, he calls Howard Lutnick an unmitigated disaster as the Secretary of Commerce.
Go for it. Play the clip.
So what to have a trading order that puts America first and puts American citizens first, and most importantly starts to bring back high value added manufacturing to the United States. And no, Howard Lutnick, is not going to all be done by robots. We're not doing this so we can set up so robots have a better life. In fact, I don't know why Lutnick's still doing media. Let me be blunt. Lutnick, who is Elon's pick for Secretary of Treasury, I think he's close to being an unmitigated disaster. We should see a lot less of Lutnick on TV. Hassett, Navarro, Jameson Greer, the trade rep, and particularly Scott Bessent. And I think Bessent's being very smart in choosing and being very selective on the media. We have to have a clear message and people understand what the process is, and we have a process. It's a very well thought through. And this, by the way, Stephen Miller should be doing more about trade and about this new economic order that we're trying to hammer through.
This guy's got a big following, by the way.
Steve Bannon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you know at CPAC, after CPAC, who was number one for presidency for 2028? Was who, Rob? Trump? Oh, no, it was J.D. Vance. I'm sorry, J.D. Vance was one.
Yeah.
You know who was 31%? Him.
Really? Damn, so there's kind of like different factional leaders within the conservative thought.
For sure. There is not 100% unity. No, there's not. Which, by the way, that's good.
But which issue is most divisive, not just in terms of people they look up to?
Well, I mean, the issue that's divisive, there's the America First, right? Which is like the people that, hey, the policies that makes us first. America First globalist, right? Nationalist, we're about America versus globalist. There's that part. There's a debate on some of these guys that are more, they're kind of like part of the establishment side versus the anti-establishment. Like, hey, we voted you in to do these things. How come you're not doing that? How come you're not going after these 3 or 4 or 5 issues that we voted for you for? So, and then the tariffs. There's a camp in the Republican Party that's not for the way tariffs are going.
Yeah, I was at the Bernie Sanders rally I told you in Bakersfield. There was a guy there in a MAGA hat, and he was like, I just want to hear what Bernie has to say because these tariffs are destroying my business.
You said that?
Yeah.
Well, that would qualify for a paid agitator to kind of throw it off. So that's
just because you disagree with it, man.
No, but that is the perfect way to confuse the hell out of somebody to come in. You know how much it costs to do something like that? Hey, I'll give you $200 wear a MAGA hat and just go say this to the guy on the camera. He'll use it.
To be fair, I was confused. So mission success.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that's that effective. That a guy that gets billions of views, I don't know how many total views you got. I'm assuming you got hundreds of social media views, if not over 1 billion total social media views.
Yeah, 600 million.
On YouTube?
Yeah. Actually, no, in total I probably have around 1 billion.
No, you got over 1 billion, bro.
Yeah.
You don't count YouTube. You're TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, everywhere. So you got over 1 billion views. That would work with a guy like you. So these are the things that we got to be thinking about on the Republican side. No, it's not what you think it is. So, but all I'm saying is, during that time with COVID, dude, they gaslit the hell out of a lot of us, mainstream media. Did you ever do anything where you actually ever have a moment where you were actually scared, like, holy shit, we got to be careful with this, where your camera guys were worried?
Oh, all the time.
Was that?
Well,
what's the scariest one?
I mean, personally, probably getting arrested by Border Patrol.
Oh, Rob, we have to do this. Can you break down what you did here? Because this is absolutely edgy.
Yeah. Okay, so the video is called Border Patrol Arrest. So let me first, before you watch this, let me tell you the purpose. This is when the border was wide open and there was a big, migrant crisis happening. Yep. So I wanted to see what it was like on the Mexican side as far as the final step of actually meeting up with a coyote who was connected to the cartel and crossing the border, specifically over the river, because I wanted to get in the water as opposed to be in the hot desert. And so, yeah, we did that. I didn't realize that we were going to cross the river until we got there. But then I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and there was a guy that was collecting tax with a machete that he was like hitting against this tree in the distance, and I was like, all right, fuck, why? I gotta get out of Mexico. I'm looking at America like, oh, home free, finally. So, I link arms with the coyote, we cross the river, I get to the American side, and I think that I'm good to go. The coyote's like, man, stay down. Like, you can still get arrested. Like, even if you're an American citizen, you can't just hop your own border. And I was like, dude, I can hop my own border. I've been here my whole life. It's fine. So I walk up, and then I get up, and then the Border Patrol agent is like, stand up. I stand up like I've done nothing wrong. And he's like, that's a felony, right? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you have to go through a port of entry. And I was like, oh, shit, my bad. Can I get a ticket or something? And he was like, no, bro. So he took me to a processing center for migrants. And yeah, it was like hundreds of them wearing space blankets in this freezing room. They make it really cold.
Did you record it or didn't let you record it?
I couldn't record this, so we had a designer do like a 3D animation rendering of it. So I go into the room after being processed, and like all the migrants, like it was the worst day of their life, obviously, because they've just gotten caught trying to come into the U.S.
We can hear the audio if you want to mute it, because we hear it.
It made their life seeing a white guy walk into the holding tank. All these guys were having the worst day, and they just stand up there just laughing. They're like, what the hell did you do? What are you doing? And I speak Spanish.
Do you have the clip up speaking to the coyotes?
Yeah.
Go to the front rap. I think speaking to the coyotes is where? Earlier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would say around the 7-minute mark. Yeah.
Earlier or right there?
So that's the coyote who I blurred out, and he was...
Go back a little bit, Rob. Go back a little bit, because he starts talking... Okay, right there. Right
Not wire at all. It's a non-issue and a distraction. Designed to create controversy so basically, from afar. He says this is a perfect place to cross.
You're in Mexico
it's too deep.
Y si él mira que está hondo, busca otro lado. Si no está hondo, pues por ahí pasamos los cuatro agarrados.
You can see my face. I'm like, ustedes van a pasar con nosotros a los otros. This may sound like amateur, but I didn't realize up until this point that we were actually going to cross the river ourselves. I was expecting just like a tour of their route, but obviously they had other plans.
Y luego ahí ya cruzamos para los Estados Unidos.
Sí. $5,000. God damn it. It was also going to cost us $5,000 a piece. This was not discussed, but I wasn't sure what to do. So, eso es la primera parte.
La primera parte es esta.
Okay.
Y luego necesitamos conseguir alguien que nos levante. Me cuenta es un carro y ya nos sube hasta San Antonio.
Okay.
Pero tenemos que caminar, a de cuenta, hasta Uvalde. Háganse para acá.
At this point, it became quite obvious that I was in far too deep. The coyote told me that after crossing the river, we had to walk from Eagle Pass to Uvalde, Texas, which is over 67 miles on foot. How would this be possible? According to Apple Maps, it said it would take over 24 hours. We had no water. Plus, we apparently owed these guys $5,000. Looking back, I would have asked to turn around, but we were in far too deep. And while they're being pretty cool, you never know when a switch could flip or something. Abruptly, the younger coyote asked me to duck down because a Border Patrol boat was speeding by. Yeah, the thing is, I don't really feel anxiety until, like, I'm looking at the footage. Like, it's funny, in the moment I wasn't nervous, but watching this now, I'm nervous because I realized this was like a bad idea.
So what's about to happen next?
I'm about to cross the border and get arrested by Border Patrol.
Go to the Border Patrol part when he's talking. Do you record when you're talking to Border Patrol?
Yeah. Go right there.
Go back a little bit. Look, is this it? Okay, press play.
Yeah, this is now in the U.S. Coyote's telling me to be quiet. Let's be right there. Roly-poly.
Manos arriba. Ven pa' acá, usted. Hands up. Get up. Let me see your hands. Got any guns on you?
No, sir.
Face away from me.
We're journalists.
Usted, manos arriba. Bájate.
You haven't paid $5,000 yet.
You too. You speak English?
Yeah.
Stand up.
I couldn't believe it. Border Patrol had been watching us the entire time since we entered the forest.
Yeah, I can clearly hear him swimming.
And set up the American side to apprehend us.
You two, face away from me. Walk backwards over here.
God.
Hey, ven pa' acá, wey.
Immediately, my coyotes jumped back into the water, swimming back to Mexico.
Come back, over here.
Okay.
Get over here.
This left us alone in Border Patrol custody.
There was one guy here, he obviously ran back, and then the two USCs right there.
Then watch, he grabs the camera and it's still rolling. He doesn't even realize it's rolling. That's a Border Patrol agent.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's perfect footage.
Yeah.
That's golden.
Dude, right?
Wow, look at this. He's doing a great job.
Honestly, this is pretty much this is a commercial for the U.S. border.
This is like, these guys are great shooters, literally.
Yeah, look at this cinematography. He's holding it like at a perfect eye level here, or hip level.
Should have given him the $5,000.
It doesn't get better than that.
No, wow. So now what happens? You go to jail?
Yeah, well, I went to a processing center, and they just helped me.
This is the one you were with a couple hundred other guys that got caught as well?
Yeah, and then they put me in a solitary confinement cell for like 3 days. No.
Did somebody say, like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, they understood, but like the immigration court system was so bloated because of the crisis that I couldn't get heard by a judge for like 3 days. As soon as she heard that I was an American citizen, they just gave me a $10,000 fine and dropped me off at a gas station.
You paid the fine?
So
you didn't pay the $5,000 to the coyote, but you paid the $10,000 to the guy who put the
I
fine.
probably should pay the coyote. I never thought that. I tell somebody.
Well, listen, man, that guy's probably upset. He's like, look, dude, I did my job.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I mean, I got arrested. They were supposed to help me get into the U.S.
He's not arrested,
no,
so he didn't fulfill his commitment.
No, not at all.
That's disappointing. That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Now, you're a businessman. You want things.
And the movie The Matrix was playing, and it was just the loading screen. And I couldn't adjust it, so it was like play special features, and it was the same song over and over again. And I finally got the jailer to change it to a different movie, and they played the movie Marley and Me, the Owen Wilson film about the dog who passes away, spoiler alert, over and over again. So I had to watch Marley and Me for 3 fucking days. You know, which is like, it was like that.
At least it's a decent movie, but I don't know for 3 days.
I know every scene by heart. And so I get out, and my mom calls me, and she was like, "You're taking years off my life. You can never do that again." So
when are you going to Iran?
Should I go?
Well, I mean, listen, if you really want to give your mom 3 years back, years back to her, go back to Iran, one of the safest places.
Are you a fan of Iran?
I would love to go back, but if we go to Iran, you would be arrested by guilty of association with me.
Oh, they don't like you?
No, they don't like me, but they would entertain you.
Your family grew up there, like?
I grew up there. I lived there 11 years. Yeah, I lived
after 79.
78 through 89.
So do you have a memory of that transition?
Vivid.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the war. Maybe not the transition, but I remember the war. I remember what it was like.
You think that conditioned your thinking as an adult a lot? Mm-hmm. Do you think that conditioned like your way of thinking a lot? Just experiencing such a drastic regime change?
I value freedom, and I'm extremely paranoid with the government having too much power. Mm-hmm. And you know who I had here on the podcast 3 months ago? I had the Islamic Revolutionary Guard founder.
Wow.
Okay, somehow my streaming stopped
this is a
kick.
guy
I don't know why.
Whose direct report, while they're in a building together, he's on the fourth floor. His direct report's on the first floor of the building in Iran. The direct report goes and puts a bomb, kills the president of Iran and the prime minister.
Let me stop the streaming and I'll come back to you.
And he claims he's dead. This guy claims that his ashes are everywhere. The entire country